went well and what went less well. Let's see. I can only speak for how things sort of went on the Democratic side, but I can say that all three National Party committees and the Biden campaign made IT security a central focus from top to bottom. And what I mean by that is it was an organizational priority. There were dollars put behind this. There were resources hired, there were resources acquired to make sure that IT security was a focus and an integral part of the organization. But not just for the campaigns and not just for the sort of committees, but for those in and around. And what I mean by that is the full ecosystem, sort of the vendors we use and those people that are involved in and around. There's also was a bigger focus on leveraging cloud-based systems that added security and administration that campaigns and committees might not have on their own. This is also probably why you didn't hear a whole lot about, from most of the party committees, about any sort of exchange server hacks, as Cliff mentioned before, because they're doing a better job to leverage some of these cloud providers that are out there now. We also worked more closely with our federal partners. We worked more closely with the Department of Homeland Security, better with Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and the FBI. So there's a lot that we have done and evolved over the last 2 to 4 years to get us and our campaigns in a much better place. What went less well? Well, that would have to be sort of how it all starts out. Inherently, sort of when a campaign starts, they are much less secure and not in a great place from its launch, unfortunately. Whether that's because it's sort of by start a BYOD, bring your own device nature, or it's the lack of security or IT professionals on board on day one. But with the help of the national party committees, with the increase in IT security awareness trainings and checklists being delivered by the national party committees, and also the trainings and seminars like this one that USC puts on, that's providing a great resource to these campaigns, to those in and around campaigns and election security. And we work with organizations like Defending Digital Campaigns that have helped to sort of round out sort of some of the security offerings that let's say a national party committee can't provide to a campaign. So all of those various resources have allowed us to get to a better place. But inherently, sort of what goes less well is sort of where we start out is greatly different than sort of where we finish from a campaign's perspective. Obviously, the national party committees, exist and sort of are at a secure level, much greater than these campaigns. But sort of where we start off and where we finish are kind of two different things.
Well, we're going to be staffing up across the country for the off-year elections next year. And what are some lessons for 2022 that we can draw from our experience last year?
Well, I will say sort of we did see sort of a downtick in, let's say, the targeting of our campaigns in 2020. What we did see sort of an increase in is more the business email compromise, sort of, phishing campaigns to generate funds, as we see, and this is specifically targeting those in and around the accounts payable process, more business email compromise sort of schemes, if you will. And honestly, in lots of these countries, these hackers have to generate their own salaries. So, this is sometimes just a side business for them on top of some of the other things they're doing. But, if 2022 is anything like 2020, we'll see more of the same, but an evolution and combination of what we saw in 2020 and prior. Last year we saw, like I said, less targeting of the campaigns, but what we did see is a greater influence on supply chain. We saw, SolarWinds, Kaseya, given their remote management and software installation capabilities. This allowed these hackers to break into more government entities. But those involved in securing campaigns and elections probably need to take a big lesson from this, because, if they're going to meddle in the 2022 elections, it is likely that although SolarWinds and Kaseya aren't necessarily things that maybe campaigns or committees might be using, these nation state hackers are going to look at, what is the supply chain involved in and around campaigns and elections and election security. And that's something I believe that they're going to target. So we should take a page from sort of what has happened previously, whether it happened to us or not, the supply chain attacks, and realize that, that is something that we need to focus more directly on, because, that combining sort of the hacks that we saw in 2016 with the supply chain attacks of 2020, those two meshed together gives you 2022 and what I see coming.